Every rider fears one thing, the falling leaves. That can only mean one thing, the riding season is coming to an end. But what if you don't have to stop riding just because the weather is getting cold? And that brings us to this video. If you wear proper riding gear, then the riding doesn't have to stop all year round. So I reached out to motozem to see if they would be interested in sending some winter motorcycle gear. And you know what? They were super excited and sent me the big box of goodies. I did warn motozem that any gear they send will most likely will be destroyed during the testing phase. They were like, give it your best shot. Well, all right. Let's open the box together and see what motozem has sent us for testing. So what's in the box? Let's open it together and we'll find out. There is a note. Thank you for your cooperation, and as a thank you, we are enclosing a small package of our useful gadgets. We look forward to the results. That's really nice of them. Now, first of all, I really like the packaging, really nice and clean. I love the old school paper. So, what is in the box? Lot more stuff than I was expecting, so let's go through it. Let's start the unboxing in no particular order. First, we have RSA socks. So I guess I'm ready for the Christmas. Then we have a cap for the winter, which will come in handy as the weather is already getting cold. I'm gonna take this off because it's quite hot inside here. And then we have workshop glove, 2 pairs. These will come in handy again because, as you know, I work on my bikes a lot. Next up, this is a scarf for the cold weather riding, which is again great. They really thought of everything when they were packing this box. Let me just try that on. Oh yeah, this is gonna be nice for the cold weather. I can stay warm in my helmet. So let's take this off as well. Next up, we have earplugs, basic classic earplugs, and I always wear earplugs when I'm riding my bikes. I never go out on a bike without these plugs, so get yourself one. Then we have some car air freshener. What else there is some keychain thingy, and then we have these should be the underlayers. Let's just have a look. Yes, these are Street Racer underlayer thermals. And of course, I will be testing these to see how well they hold the heat during the cold rides. Next up is, that's probably top. Yes, again, Street Racer thermal top. Again, will be very useful and will be testing during our cold rides. Then last but not least, we have Street Racer all season riding jacket. Let me just put everything away so we have more clean space and we can go over the details. And here we have it. Let's try the jacket on first and then we'll go over the details after. I'm not sure if this zipper is waterproof, but we'll test that a little bit later. There's another zipper because this is actually 3-in-1 jacket. It has 3 different layers. So let's put that on. Pretty snug. You want it to be snug for the winter rides, the colder days, so it can hold the heat inside. Really nice, good fit, feels premier. About the fabric, I don't know if it's waterproof or water resistant. Again, we'll test that a little bit later. Let me give you a walk around. There we go. And also stylish. I don't look like a clown wearing this jacket. A lot of adjustments on the arms. Of course, we have 2 straps on each arm. Then I can also adjust the back and the sides like so to make it more perfect fit. Great. A bunch of pockets. Let's go over the details and see what we get for 214 euros. Why is it all season? Well, you have an option to convert this into a summer jacket. For instance, it has 2 air cooling system. So you unzip, detach the velcro and snap on. So these clips are actually magnetics which hooks on and then pulls in. So only way to remove them is you have to pull out and back. Same goes for the second side. Undo the zip, undo the velcro, and look, it just snaps on and it will not undo just because of the wind. So you have to pull up and close. This is a great feature. Then on the back, same thing, we have two air cooling systems, left and right. These are with zippers. You open the zips and you can ventilate your back as well. Same goes for the second side. There is another vent right here which is by velcro. You undo this, push this in, and now you have even more ventilation going to your back. I'm also loving the feature on the collar. For instance, if you want to leave the collar open, there is a loop and a hook which hooks around like that, and now it's secure. So when you want to leave your jacket open, it doesn't flap around like crazy. And I know from my personal experience how annoying this little collar can be. You want more features? You got it. We have two pockets up front with velcro straps to secure everything and keep everything in its place. Then inside we have a pocket for your phone, another pocket for your wallet and documents, and we have two straps on each arm for the adjustment and zippers for the ventilation. Plus we have a lot of reflective elements for the night ride, so you are visible on the road. The jacket has three layers. We have the outer shell. Let's open it. Then we have two inner shells. So open the zip. There we go. And now you can see there are two more layers. So we have outer shell one, then we have a thermal layer, and then another layer. So let's take all these layers out and see what is what. There we go. And now I should be able to pull this out. Of course, everything is secured by buttons. There we go. Take this one out as well. So each arm is held by two buttons. So this is the warm layer, which looks pretty good. Let's put this on side, and then we have another layer. So let's take this out as well, again held by a zip which goes all around the jacket. There is a second layer, and of course this is the third layer, and there is a place to insert the back armor. Unfortunately, the jacket doesn't come with an armor. You will have to buy one yourself, but for 240 euros, I think the price is fair, and what it comes with is also fair. Spending another 50 to 60 euros for the armor is fine, or you can just remove from your existing jacket and put it on the new one. But the Street Racer jacket does come with pre-installed armor for your elbow and the shoulder. Let's take them out and see what kind of armor it is. It's very simple. One velcro strap and the armor just pulls right out. Let's take out also for the elbow. Same thing. It should be one velcro strap and it should pop right out. There we go. The jacket is certified according to EN 17092 and CE level 2 armor. So what does these random certification numbers actually mean? I'm going to try to explain it for the dummies, so try to keep up. We'll start with the textile first. The textile certification is EN 17092. To get the certification, the textile is tested for abrasion resistance, heat resistance, and seam strength. All these 3 points will be tested by me in this video later on. Here is how I will test these 3 points. Abrasion resistant, I will simulate road condition where I will drag the fabric at 80 kilometers an hour for 30 seconds and see how well the fabric holds up. Point 2. Heat resistant. For this, I will blast the fabric at 180 degrees for 30 seconds again and see how well the heat is kept outside and not transferred to your skin. Seam strength. This can get a bit tricky since manufacturers use equipment which costs thousands of euros and I do not have that kind of money laying around. So I'm gonna go commando and try to rip the seam by my hand. If it can survive my strength, I'm sure it will survive the crash. The textile is out of the way. Let's move on to the armor. Armor is certified in two levels, CE level 1 and level 2. The armor is tested for impact to see how well it distributes the force. Level 1 armor allows maximum force of 35 kilonewtons and averages of 20 kilonewtons. What does these two numbers mean? Let me give you a visual. 35 kilonewton equals to getting hit by a big ass SUV at 40 kilometers an hour. You might not walk away from it. 20 kilonewtons equals to getting hit by a small truck at 25 kilometers an hour. Definitely some broken bones. Now, level 2. Level 2 armor allows maximum force of 18 kilonewtons and average of 9 kilonewton. Here is the visual. 18 kilonewton equals to getting hit by a pickup truck at 20 kilometers an hour. You'll probably walk away with minor bruises and scratches. 9 kilonewtons equals to getting kissed by a small car at 10 kilometers an hour. No harm done, you'll walk right off. So we want this. We want level 2. We do not want level 1. So I hope this explains and gives you a visual of certification. What does EN 17092 means and what does CE level 1 and 2 means. I do want to clarify one thing, that the CE armor is designed for falls and slide. What it's not designed for is getting hit by a full force of a vehicle going 100 kilometers an hour. But this does not mean we can ignore the armor altogether, because the CE level 2 armor is still worth having, because most of the motorcycle crashes involve loss of control, sliding into the objects, low side, high side, or falling into your elbow, shoulders, hip, and knees. And that's what CE level 2 armor is exactly tested for. Now that's out of the way, let's move on to the testing the jacket. Let's begin the testing. As for the thermal, these are street racer thermals. There isn't much to test, then put them on and go for a ride. So I'll put this top and the bottom, both from the street racer, on and go for a ride. And for the jacket, it's a whole different story. All season street racer jacket by Motozem will have following test. The ride test, putting the jacket on, going for a ride for at least 1 hour to see how well I am kept warm. The water test, putting the jacket on, getting hosed by water for at least 5 minutes and seeing how well the water is kept out and how well I am kept dry. Abrasion test, getting dragged for at least 100 meters on the road and seeing if the fabric holds up at all. The heat test, blasting the fabric with 180 degrees for at least 30 seconds to see how well the fabric holds up. And then of course the penetration test. All these tests will get points out of 5, and if the jacket can achieve more than 20 points, we can consider this jacket as safe and recommend it. Next up, the Street Racer All Season Jacket. Let's put this on. All I need is my helmet and we can go for a ride. Let's go.
The reason I chose Yamaha R125 for this ride because this one has heated grips.
So 1.5 hour ride. Let me just take this helmet off and we can talk about it. So after 1.5 hour ride, how warm am I? I really like the neoprene cuff because it created a airtight seal which didn't let the wind in and kept me warm. But the real question is how warm is my chest area and my back? So let's open this up and we'll measure the temperature. So 35.6 is not bad at all. Right test is out of the way. Let's move on to the next ones. For the water test, I'm going to have the cameraman soak me for at least 5 minutes to see how well the water is kept out and I'm kept dry. I'm going to focus mostly on the zippers because these can be the weak point where the water might get in. So I'm not looking forward to this because it is quite cold. Let's get this done. I'm going to place my camera right here, hoping it will keep my mic dry as well. Okay, here we go. So, it's right here. So there we have it. Now let's inspect the jacket from the inside and see how well I am kept dry. So let's take out the mic and hopefully it's still dry. Yes, the mic is dry and also on under the zipper everything is nice and dry. Let's open the jacket and see how well the water was kept out because as I said this zipper doesn't look like waterproof. And as for the inside there's another zipper which is waterproof but it's still dry. A little bit water that's probably for my beard. And let's open the jacket completely and see. Yeah, I don't see any water seeping in. Let me just take the jacket off and we can inspect it in more details. So what about my wrist? Again, completely kept dry, no water seeped in. My sleeves are a little bit wet, but that is to be expected because you can't have a completely airtight seal. So let's have a look. I don't see any water, but let's check the under layers. Again, completely dry, no water seeped in. Also on the base layer. So overall, the jacket kept me nice and dry. So definitely water resistant and waterproof. For the abrasion test, what is the better way to test it than actually getting dragged behind the car for 100 meters? But I do not recommend you trying this at home because I am taking all the precautions and doing it in controlled environment and on a road which leads to nowhere. For the safety, I'll be wearing the helmet, of course, the jacket we are testing, and the trouser. Finally, this trouser is also from the street racer, which my son crashed in earlier this year. So, enough of that. Let's get dragging. Okay, let's go. Go. That was fun. After 100 meters sliding, did I get to keep my skin? Well, look for yourself. Here are the results. The jacket did rip. That is to be expected. It's not an indestructible jacket, but I did not get, my skin did not get hot. I did not feel a thing, and I just slid on the road like butter. So it definitely passes the abrasion test. Let's move on to the next one. I wanted to give you a closer look of the street racer jacket after sliding in it for 100 meters on the road. As you can see, the jacket is of course ripped, and that is to be expected. Since the real world crash scenarios are only sliding for 20 to 30 meters, we slid in it for 100 meters, and the jacket held up much better than I was expecting. In fact, it worked so well that I did not feel any heat on my back. So to simulate that, I will blast the jacket with 180 degrees for at least 30 seconds to see if the fabric deforms or melts. Let's get to it. Let's do the heat test. I will use my heat gun, and at the same time I will also use a thermometer to keep monitoring the temperature. We will keep blasting the heat for at least 30 seconds and see how are the temperature outside and what is the temperature internally. Let's start the timer. There we go. Start blasting it, and at the same time we will measure it as well. We are at 162. So far so good. 20 seconds in. 180. There we go. Stop the clock. So 33 seconds, and let's see how the internally temperature is. We are at 22 degrees. What about another layer? A little bit higher, 27 degrees. Let's check the only layer. Here we have 37 degrees. Let me just have a look if there is any deformation or melting of the fabric, which is absolutely nothing. The jacket is as good as brand new. This jacket is constantly throwing surprises at me how well it's holding up. So far, all season street racer jacket is holding up pretty much great. But can it survive the penetration test? Let's find out. How am I going to test penetration? Well, here it is. Not a real gun. This is an airsoft gun which shoots a 4.5mm BB at 73 meters per second, which is 260 kilometers an hour. You might think this is a bit aggressive, but trust me, it's not. Because since most bikes go 160-170 kilometers an hour in the first gear, reaching 260 is not that hard. So I want to make sure a flying rock, which will be simulated by 4.5mm BB, hits you while you're wearing all season street racer jacket. It's not going to go through and into your skin. I will take 3 shots, and if it penetrates even one layer, we have a problem. I'll be taking 3 shots from 2.5 meter distance, and let's see how well the jacket keeps the projectiles out. Let's go. Let's have a closer look if the jacket survived. I can see where the pellet actually hit, but absolutely no damage. Not even as a scuff. It was like it never happened. So definitely held up great. I have done all 5 tests: ride, water, abrasion, heat, and penetration. How well the jacket held up, let's go through it one by one, and we'll give out some points, and let's see how many points the jacket get in the end. First, the ride test. The ride was taken for 45 minutes in 9 degrees Celsius, and the internal temperature of the jacket was kept at 31 degrees and more. So it definitely gets 5 out of 5. The water test. I was soaked in water for 5 minutes, and the jacket was kept completely dry. Only issue was that I got some water under my sleeves, but this is not a jacket's fault. This will happen to almost every jacket. So I'm going to give another 5 out of 5. Abrasion test. I was dragged for 100 meters on the asphalt, and I felt absolutely no heat on my back. Of course, the jacket ripped, but that is to be expected, and I can't take points from that. So it again gets 5 out of 5. So far, pretty impressive. The heat test. The jacket was blasted for 33 seconds, and the temperature was brought up to 180 degrees Celsius again, and the jacket had no deformation, no melting at all. It was like it never happened. So, again, 5 out of 5. The penetration test. The jacket was hit by 4.5 millimeter BBs at 262 kilometers an hour, and not even a single BB pellet went through. That's pretty impressive. And that brings us to 5 out of 5 points. With a total of 25 points out of 25, that is pretty impressive for a jacket costing 214 euros. So I have tried to be fair in all my tests because the purpose of this video was to test the jacket for its strength and weaknesses and not to just destroy the jacket for the fun of it. I will leave all the details about the testing in the description, plus I will leave the links where you can get this jacket on my website, which will be in the description, of course. Once again, I want to thanks to motozem for sending out the gear for the testing. And if you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more videos like this. And if you want to send some gears for me to test, I'll leave the information in the description for that too. Thanks for watching. Stay warm. As always, ride safe. See you on the next one.